Hello, my loves. Welcome back to Music and Beauty TV. It's me, Miss Ruby, and welcome to another hair tutorial. Today I'm featuring hair from the company Nabeauty Hair. The information for this company will be listed in the description below. They've sent me 3 bundles and a closure in the lengths of 16, 18, and 20 inches for the bundles, as well as a 14-inch closure. The texture of this hair is loose wave. It is their top quality Remy human Indian hair, and it is in a natural color brown. Say what up to Rochelle, y'all. This is my homegirl Rochelle, and I'm doing a demonstration on her hair particularly because, as you can see, her edges are pretty thin. However, we're still going to put this closure on her head and it's going to look like a full head of hair. And that's the reason why I'm doing this tutorial, because I noticed that sometimes when you do closures on people's hair and they have thinning edges, it's a little bit different of a process than standard. So right now I'm showing you how I'm parting the hair. If you guys have never seen a closure tutorial by me, then make sure you click on this link or check out my description below where you can see a couple videos where I've done closures. And I go over details step by step on how I do the braid pattern and the installation of the closure. So following those methods and applying them to this situation, the biggest difference is the way that I'm parting her hair. Instead of just having a straight part going back or a slanted part, I'm going to create a curved part in this client's hair. And the reason for this is because, as you can see, the client has hair toward the top of her forehead, as well as small bits of hair going along her hairline, and she has kind of a big chunk of hair right there above her ear. However, if I make her part too far down to where it's a deep part closure or just a regular straight back closure, then I'm not going to be able to grab from that top piece, which is the thickest piece, which is the best part to start the braid. I'm going to have to create the braid starting with the hair that is growing back about an inch away from her hairline, which means that altogether the closure is going to be attached about an inch away from her hairline. But I want this closure to be attached as close to her hairline as possible so we can get as much coverage as possible once we install it along with the bundles. Does that make sense? So I went ahead and finished parting my client's hair. I ended up moving her part up just a bit, and now I am applying some oil to her scalp. I think this is really important, especially if your clients are trying to grow their edges back in. Some people just have problematic edges that tend not to grow very much, but other people have damaged edges from hairstyles in the past. So I like to encourage my clients to oil their scalp around the edges, especially if they're going to be having braids pulling on them. So now I'm getting started with the braid down. Like I said, check out some of my other videos so you can get detailed instructions on why I'm doing the braid pattern like I am. But just for demonstration purposes, I wanted to show you guys how sturdy this braid is because I began the braid where hair actually was. If you try to start the braid where the hair is thinning, then you're just creating a weaker base for you to stitch onto. And even if it works, it's probably not a good idea for your client or for the outcome of the style overall. So after I braided that side down, then I switched over to the other side and did the exact same thing. The hair oil that I'm using is the Scalp Cocktail by weavepro.net. Information for this oil will be below as well. It's actually my favorite hair oil right now. I use it on pretty much all of my clients. It's a really cool combination oil that doesn't have any fillers in it at all, just all 100% organic oils that are really good for your hair. And eventually the Scalp Cocktail will be customizable, so get excited about that. So right now I just want to show you guys that the little bits of hair that are remaining outside of this braid that are actually baby hairs, I did not pull them in, but I did try to pull the rest of the hair in. Because of the way that this is installed, as you can see, the closure is going to end about right here, and I'll be able to drag the rest of the hair bundles up. So all of the hair is going to be falling over this thin edge part. That's one of the biggest things about doing a weave with or without a closure over thinning edges, is making sure that the hair falls in your client's face. If you just do it to where it's falling on the side or heading backward, then it's not going to cover those thin edges. And that's probably the key to this style altogether. So now I have my client holding the closure in place while I create this part in her closure so that the part in the closure matches the part that has already been created on her head. Once I do that, I'm going to remove that, and I'll come back to that in a minute. In the meantime, gelling down her baby hairs underneath. Some people wait until after they install the closure to do this part, which is fine. It just really depends on, I guess, how you want to operate, but I usually like to do it ahead of time. Then I'll go back after I install the closure and finish the style and just add a little bit more product if it's necessary at that point. So I cut the lace off the front of the closure, and now I'm going to go ahead and install this closure, laying that part on top of where the part is. Now, I get quite a few people asking, can you create a new part as you wear the closure? And while it is possible, because this is a free part lace closure, it is possible for you to go in and create a new part. I always say that wherever the part is on your client's actual head is where you're going to have the cleanest laying part for the closure altogether, because the same exact separation of hair that you created in your client's head, you're also creating in the lace closure, and they're right on top of one another, so it just creates the most seamless look. For those of you who follow my content and you know the reason why I install my closures like this, as you can see, there's about 1/2 inch of the closure left in front of the first braid, and that is because I want that hair to fall about 1/2 inch in front of where that first braid is, since it doesn't go all the way to the front of her hairline. Some cases, when your clients are really balding in the front, you'll want to leave a whole inch out, and in some cases when your clients have really full hair, then can probably leave a couple centimeters of that closure out. But I usually like to leave a little bit of the closure out in front of the client's braids no matter what, and then anchor them down, because as your client's hair begins to grow underneath this closure, what tends to happen is the closure moves back. It's natural, it's not meant to last forever without a touch-up. But when that closure starts to move back, then it goes further and further away from the hairline. So by me starting the closure out a little bit in front of the hairline, then it gives this closure room to grow back while still looking somewhat natural. And here's how it looks after the entire closure has been sewn down. As you can see, the hair is already falling in her face and covering those edges. So I'm just going to go in really briefly and just show you guys the way that I installed a couple of the tracks that matter the most. So I already installed one bundle on the bottom, and I'm getting started with the second bundle. So as you can see, I am bringing that track all the way up to just beneath where that closure ends, and I'm stitching it along the braid. So the braid is somewhat vertical, like diagonally vertical on this client's hair, which gives me the opportunity to stitch this onto that braid and then have that hair fall in her face. You'll see this a bit more clearly on the other side as I finish the stitches. So I could just flip the track right here and go back and forth, and yeah, some of the hair will fall in her face, but by having the tracks lay along the braids as so, then the hair is going to fall in her face more naturally. So although I did cut this track, which I don't usually like to cut wefts very much, I thought it was important to cut it right here, because otherwise you can create like lumps and bumps in the front of your client's hair, and you really don't want that. So just to show you guys how this looks, if she were to lift this up, then it still has a seamless finish, but it's not meant to be worn up. So when it lays down, then it does fall over the thinning edge part of her hair. And after going in and continuing with that stitch pattern for all of the hair, this is how it looks in the end. I did straighten this hair out and restyle it. So I hope you guys enjoyed this tutorial and learned something. Please let me know if you have any questions below about the curved part closure method for thinning edges. And make sure you check out some of my other hair tutorials. Thank you so much for all of your love and support. Thank you for subscribing to this channel, and I'll see you in the next video. God bless you.
How many followers do you have now, Ruby?
On what?
YouTube.
Oh,
Over 1 million?
no, girl. That's rare. A million? I have 35,000. I want to get to 100,000 by the end of this year.
1 million is rare?
Yeah. It's girls that's been on YouTube forever that's actually making a lot of money and full time and still have like 400,000 or 500,000.